I cheated on my husband and he found out. Can we still work it out? Story 1. I 27F have been with my husband 29 meters on and off since high school's end. I was 14 and he was 16. We got married and have kids together. Things had been rough between us for a very long time. The relationship started out very abusive, but I brushed it off because we were young and I believed we could grow out of it. We did after a while. But about 1 year after getting married 4 years ago or so, I started to reach out to people online because I started to feel so alone and the pressure of everything started to get to me. Not an excuse, just what happened. I met a man online and we started talking. At first he was just giving me advice on how to make my marriage better, but then as time went on, things became more intimate and we began texting and video calling. We never met in person, but talked a lot almost every day. My husband found out one day and everything went to hell. I stopped talking to the other man and knew what I did was wrong. I spent the next 4 months doing everything I could to try and make up for it in any way I could think of. Things became very ugly between us. He became abusive again. Worse than ever before. Like borderline teenager sometimes. I put up with it and accepted it as my punishment for betraying and hurting him as badly as I did, but after 4 months of it, it became harder and harder to keep just putting up with it. One morning a few months ago, he woke me up very abruptly. He asked me into the living room and pointed at the computer. He found a picture of the man I was texting before. At this point, I had no more strength in me to keep putting up with everything. I told him that I wasn't going to do this again, talk about the other man, because there was nothing more to say. I told him everything and he saw everything. He was very angry and I said, if you want to leave me, then just leave. I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. I turned to walk away and get ready for work, and he jumped me. Literally jumped me. Beat the hell out of me. Then took my phone, the internet box and the car and left me there bloody and broken. The kids did not see anything, thankfully. I had to go out and ask someone to borrow their phone to call 911. It was humiliating. I ended up in the hospital and he was eventually arrested. I was informed that he had attempted suicide. I was so heartbroken. I still love him. So I decided I would just show love to him and show him that even with this happening, I knew it was my fault. And I wanted to make it right. So the past few months have been up and down, good and bad. I have been working hard to try and get his charges from the state dropped or reduced at the very least. Been trying to be as sweet to him as I could possibly be. The issue now is, he still brings up the cheating. And when he does, it usually leads to a fight, and sometimes he's put his hands on me, and other times just yell. The physical abuse has died down a lot. I know it is something he will probably hurt over for the rest of his life, but I will too. I have regained less than half my mobility in my finger, and that will most likely be all the mobility I get back for the rest of my life. I will never be able to play guitar the way I used to. The cold is agonizing at the break. My finger bends slightly crooked now. My hand is ugly to me. Time won't change it. And as for my head, I struggle with memory now. I have slight speech flubs. Writing this post alone has taken me almost all 3 hours because I can't remember what I wrote. I have to keep going back to reread it in order to continue. I don't bring up my injuries. I don't want to throw it at him like that because despite what he did, I know what the reason was. Understand that I am not excusing the abuse. I know it's wrong. I just understood why, but I can't seem to get that in return for what I did. I want to fix this. I want to be happy with him and our kids. But I'm beginning to lose hope. Is it even possible? Is it selfish of me to want to call us even and just move forward? Is it wrong to want to start with a clean slate for both of us? Thank you for letting me rant. I don't expect much in return, but I guess it does feel a little good to get it off my chest. Have a good day everyone. Sorry for all of this. Edit. I'm sorry if I do not reply to everything. In a lot of cases, I just don't know what to say. I understand where all of you are coming from, and it honestly does help to feel some kind of support. I'm not trying to excuse everything that my husband has done. Not at all. I'm only stating I understand the reason. I am not a stupid person. Just overly hopeful, I guess. I have a professional office job in the legal department. This whole thing just became a mess. I understand that divorce is very much a possibility. I only want to do absolutely everything I can before reaching that point. Edit 2. Thank you all for the responses. I truly appreciate it all. I have been thinking about everything said and seeing what I can do on my end of things. I am seeking professional help for all of us. Whether my husband and I stay together, I understand that this needs to be made a priority for all of our sakes. Thank you all again. TLTR. I cheated on my husband. He found out, became very abusive, and eventually put me in the hospital. I want to call it even and move forward, but he still won't let go of the cheating. Can we move forward? Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1. Why on earth would you want to? He physically hurt you. You should leave him. Like yesterday. Redditor 2. There is no excuse for physical abuse. He shouldn't be touching you. Cheating isn't a reason to abuse you. You did nothing to deserve it. Leave. Edit. A couple may be able to move on from infidelity, but there is no moving past physical abuse. Girl, he put you in the hospital. That is absolutely unacceptable, and there is no reason on earth for that to happen, much less for you to put up with it, make excuses for it. You aren't going to move past this. He will continue to abuse you because he knows that he can. You won't stand up for yourself. It won't stop, and it'll get worse. He already put you in the hospital, next he will kill you. Story 2. Me 36M found out my wife 34F has been cheating on me, don't know what to do. TL. DR. Wife slept with a married guy, kept talking to him afterwards, was also at the same time having an emotional and estimual relationship online with 2 foreign guys. We have 3 kids and a bad financial situation. Divorce is not an easy option and we both want to try to salvage the marriage, but I don't know if I can. Let me start with some backstory. We've been together for almost 17 years. Have 3 kids, an old house we've been slowly restoring over the last 2 years, and our budget is not the greatest, no savings and lots of debt. She's the only woman I've ever been with, and before me, she had only a couple of one-night stands, so we were both little experienced when we met. She's been the light of my life, and we've gone through some difficult times together, and always have we been there for another. I thought we were one of the few who managed to stay on course no matter what. Apparently I was wrong. With all that was going on, trying to fix the house, both working full-time, trying to make ends meet and to make sure the kids are doing fine, we kinda lost ourselves. The bad financial situation and health-related issues didn't help either. My wife had been trying to lose weight for a long time, but nothing seemed to work for her, and her self-esteem was down to the floor. We were both depressed, but instead of talking and consoling one another, we suffered in silence. I buried my nose in computer games to hide from our problems, while she had her nose in her phone all the time. This spring and summer, things started going worse. She was spending more time with her friends and going partying, while I stayed at home with the kids. I thought that if I let her blow off some steam that she would come home in a better mood, but that didn't work at all. I tried to ignore the bad feeling that was starting to sink in my stomach. I had heard a rumor that she had been seen kissing some dude at a dance in a nearby town. I confronted her about it, but she denied and said that the guy had tried to kiss her, but she pushed him away. I was not fully convinced, but didn't want to push her too much as I was trying to let her see that I trusted her. Yet as the summer passed, I noticed she was getting way more protective and secretive about her phone. After seeing by chance what her FB password was one night in August 22nd, I decided to tackle a look, to see if I could find anything about that dance earlier that summer. What I found was way worse. I saw that indeed she had been kissing some dude drunk as hell until her friend pulled her out of it, but that's nothing compared to what I saw next. I accessed her Messenger and Skype. I found out that she had been chatting online with two foreign guys, A and B, for months. It had started on Instagram. Some random dude, A, sent her some flattering messages and she started talking to him on Skype after that in early June. After only speaking to him for less than 2 weeks, she started sharing with him nude photos after only resisting a bit. The incident with the guy she kissed happened later that month. She was chatting with this guy A up until midst of August, when he showed his real intention. He was a scammer with a stolen account and was just sending her pictures from that stolen profile. Yet she had been fooled enough to share with him pictures of her most intimate parts. She seemed like she was falling in love with him. By then she was already started to talk to Guy B, which also started on Instagram. Didn't take long for that to evolve to nude pictures and S-time talk. In both cases they were fantasizing about them coming to our country and meet with my wife at a hotel. She never spoke ill of me or anything like that, just talked about me like I was just there. If they asked, she said that I treated her well, but then she went on to tell them how she liked to talk to them and they made her feel good. The worst is yet to come. In one of the chats with a female friend of hers I found some more disturbing things. They went together to a 2-day town festival in another nearby town in early July, stayed at a rented room, which I of course had agreed to and thought would be okay, and I knew that my wife's friend who has trouble with panic attacks had needed to stay overnight at the local hospital. But what I didn't know and saw in that chat between them was that she mentioned a 41-year-old guy from our own town, Guy C, a married man with kids, who was unhappy in his relationship, and she had met him that night. He had come over to chat and had tried to go all the way, but my wife told her friend that she had stopped him. She didn't mention the name, but I found out a likely suspect as our town is small, and I also found in my online phone records that she had sent a message to a number belonging to a guy that fit the description. I feared the worst. I didn't let my wife know what I had found yet, as I was afraid what would happen while the kids were around, so I put up a mask and waited until Saturday 24th of August to confront my wife. I had called my mother and got her to take care of the kids. My wife is taking some classes to get some form of degree for her work, and when she came home from class, I asked her calmly to sit with me and I told her about what I knew. There was no violence, yelling or bad-mouthing. Just two sad people, one of them angry and hurt, and we talked the whole night. She promised that nothing had happened between her and C, and what she had done online was only to try boosting her self-esteem a bit, as she thought I had stopped loving her. She didn't exactly try to blame me for it, nor did she yell at me for snooping around. She said she thought I didn't like her anymore because she wasn't losing weight, and when those guys started raining compliments on her, she said she got addicted. She said she didn't mean to hurt me, she was selfish and tried to please them as she could so they would keep complimenting her, therefore sending them nude pictures. She told me that she saw it now that she had been cheating on me, but she hadn't realized it while she was doing it. Even though she knew she was doing something wrong, I wanted to believe her, I truly did. But I had concerns. We decided to try to fix our marriage and seek counseling. As the weeks passed, things seemed to be getting better. She's been way more affectionate to me and caring. Our S-time life has been great and we've been spending way more time together than before. I still had a growing feeling in my stomach that she was hiding some critical information from me, and after our second meeting with the marriage counselor last week, she finally admitted the truth. She admitted what I had suspected and feared but deeply hoped hadn't happened. She had indeed slept with C that night in July. And even though she said she had felt bad afterwards and shameful, she still kept talking to him via social media. She admitted to have met with him twice after that, but nothing more than a bit of kissing. She even tried to contact him again a few days after I had confronted her in August. My first response after that was simply freezing. I didn't yell or curse or anything. I didn't harm her in any way. I partly felt relieved that she had finally admitted what I suspected, but at the same time I felt humiliated and hurt beyond anything I've ever felt before. I didn't want to rush to anything, so I haven't thrown the ring in her face yet, nor have I confronted the other guy, as I don't want to be the person to rat on him to his wife or make myself get arrested for assault. Besides, it wasn't him that broke my marriage contract, it was my wife. I don't know what to believe anymore. The woman I thought I knew would never do something like this. She's been trying to convince me that she was an idiot and selfish and whatnot, and that she feels really bad about hurting me like that. She says she's ready to do anything to fix the situation and to get me to trust her again and feel like she's worthy again. Honestly, I don't know if I'll ever trust her again or see her with the same eyes. I do love her, of course, and I like to be around her and see her smile. But at the same time it stings my heart. I want this to work because of the kids and our shitty financial situation, as we can't afford going through divorce, but I fear that I will lose myself and never gain any self-respect if I go through with this. How the hell can I forgive her for cheating on me with not only one guy but 3? Well, 4, if you count that one time she kissed a random guy. She was both emotionally as well as physically cheating with all of them for some period of time. Not just a one drunk night mistake, but some kind of emotional and time-your relationship with 3 guys for over 2 months. Doesn't matter if 2 of those relationships were online. She still planned to meet with them, knowing fully what would happen if they did. Has anyone here gone through anything similar to this and has some good advice? I know it's easy to say, just divorce her man and move on, but it's not that simple. I still have feelings for her and I don't know what will happen with our kids and our families. I also fear that if I divorce her, which will mean that her family and friends will know the truth, that she will harm herself or at least be in a mental state where she will have bad influence on our kids. We also have an unfinished house and no savings and need at least to finish fixing it in order to get any cash out of selling it.